Dr. Christopher West, the Theology, the Body Guy. Someone once wrote to me, I've been married for over 13 years. I know sex is supposed to be good, even holy, but it still makes me feel dirty and ashamed. What's wrong with me? In this video, I'm going to share my answer. Hey, if you're new to the channel, we are all about demonstrating how our earthly bodies reveal heavenly mysteries. If you want to dive deeply into questions about what it means to be human and crawl out of the confusion that is so rampant in our world today, you're going to want to subscribe to this channel. Hey, and leave a comment, share the videos, click the notification bell. All that stuff compels YouTube to share the gospel with the world. So we're continuing the series on my book, Good News About Sex and Marriage. We are in chapter 5 on page 90, and we're looking at question 11. As I said, a woman once asked me, I've been married for almost 13 years. I know sex is supposed to be good, even holy, but somehow I still feel dirty and ashamed. What's wrong with me? Here's my response. You're not alone, I say. The rift between knowledge of how sex should be and how it's lived and experienced is quite common, even among those who are striving to do God's will and live the truth. Head knowledge is not enough, and boy, do I know it. I got married in 1995, and I already had plenty of head knowledge about God's plan for man and woman. I was already immersed in John Paul's theology of the body and teaching it to others. But man, these many years of married life have taught me that the journey from head to heart is a long and difficult one, but it is also one full of hope. So head knowledge is not enough by itself to undo the deep-seated and often unconscious attitudes we have inherited or otherwise acquired that have distorted the truth about sex, the way we see it, the way we experience it, the way we think about it. We need to go to their source, the source of these distortions, with the help of God's grace, and uproot them. And most often we'll find that the way we think about sex as adults has to do with the impressions we gained as children, from our parents, from siblings, from neighborhood friends, from exposure to pornography, from the media, from the internet, and from our own sexual experiences. My gosh, I remember as a kid, I was first exposed to pornography when I was 6 or 7 years old, and I can conjure up those images in my mind to this day. They got ingrained in there. I remember older kids in the neighborhood sharing in full detail about their own sexual exploration and experiences and being, what the heck is that? And being curious and repulsed and all mixed up. And I remember being absolutely overwhelmed by a flood of hormones and desires in my years of puberty that I didn't know what the heck to do with. And I sought relief in any way I could possibly find it. Why am I telling you all of this about my own past and history? Because I imagine your experience is not much different. And all of this, all of these painful memories need to come into the healing light and love of Christ, our Redeemer. This is the good news, my brothers and sisters. Christ really can heal us. The Son of God is real, I say, top of page 92 if you're following along. He really became one of us. He really died for us. He really rose from the dead. When he died for us, he took all of our wounds, all of our fears, all of the lies and distorted images we have about our bodies, about sex, sexuality, who we really are. Christ took it all upon himself. He died with it and rose so that we too could live a new life. He really came to restore God's original plan of life and love in our hearts. He really wants to lead us on a journey of healing and redemption, the redemption of our bodies, as St. Paul says in the letter to the Romans. It is not an easy journey, but it is full of the hope that does not disappoint. My recommendation would be to look back into your own life. How did you first learn about sex? What were your impressions of your body as you went through puberty? Did others make fun of you? Were you ever exposed to pornography? Hard to live in this culture and not be. Were you ever mistreated or abused sexually? Did you masturbate? Were you promiscuous as a teenager? How did these experiences affect you? The purpose of such a reflection here is not just to dig up old dirt. The purpose is to expose it again to the healing light and love of God's merciful redemption. I remember a time in my own life writing down on a piece of paper all of my sexual experiences, all the junk I had been through, every memory I could possibly call to mind. I wrote them all down on a piece of paper. I went to a priest I knew and trusted, and I shared with him everything on the piece of paper. And after I received my absolution, I lit that paper on fire, and watching it go up in flames was an incredible experience of a deep inner healing. One of the things I've learned in my own healing journey, which I'm still on and still have a long way to go, but I've come to realize that in the healing, one of the things that illuminates our experience is the Lord will very gently show us what we were really looking for. I remember one such experience when I was bringing a sexual memory into the light and saying, Lord, take this, show me what I was really looking for. And to my surprise, the Blessed Mother came into that memory pregnant, and she just pointed at her womb. Again and again, she pointed at her womb as if to say, this is what you were looking for. Every time you took your longing to woman in a disordered way, what you were really looking for is the mystery that she reveals. And I am the woman who fully reveals that mystery. Christ is in me. The fulfillment of all your desires is in me. You were looking for Christ in the mystery of woman every time you sinned. Whenever we sin, we're actually looking for something good, St. Thomas Aquinas tells us. But like an archer, we pull back the arrow and we miss the mark. The journey of healing is to go back to those memories where we pulled back the arrow and missed the mark, and we allow the Lord to readjust our aim so that our desire is aimed at what we are really looking for. This is the path to the healing of all of that crud that clouds our vision, that continues to shame us. When we don't bring that stuff out into the light, it's as if we have a reservoir of foulness and poison that's still in there that continues to affect the way we see and live our sexuality even decades later. Let the Lord into it. I suggest this as a prayer. Lord, you know me. Nothing about my life is hidden from you. You know all those things in my life that have drawn me away from the truth of your plan for my sexuality. Whether these were wrongs that I committed or wrongs that were committed against me, I give them all to you. Light of Christ, shine in the darkness. Truth of Christ, dispel all the lies. Death of Christ, take all my sins. Resurrection of Christ, recreate me to know, live, and experience the goodness and holiness of my sexuality. My brothers and sisters, I have so much more to share with you about living this goodness and holiness of our sexuality, and I do in the courses that I teach for the Theology of the Body Institute and in the exclusive ongoing formation I offer our community of patrons. Check out the links below to learn more about both opportunities, and until next time, may our eyes be opened more and more to who we really are.